to soca so much, right? I used to hate soca. That's my boy. He playing still, Kendrick. Oh, phenomenal. Phenomenal. I put that on for you, you know.
And see what she's be up to.
Phenomenal.
Foolishness.
He's the king of playing soca music on this show, boy. We love soca. That's his thing. You know, you have Trinidadian. That's his thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you know that?
No.
How long you work with Ed? 1,000 years.
From 2000 or so.
You should see when he get to shaking, boy. Me and McCandy in the studio.
Shaking what?
He starts shaking our belly, boy. That's so funny. Good evening, everybody. I'm Rogan Smith. Ed's not here. He's
Obviously.
he's actually emceeing an event at Atlanta, so he couldn't be here. But we've got the beautiful Tashina Robinson
Oh, thank you,
Blair
darling.
inside the studio. How you doing, Sheena?
Good.
You like that song? Mm-hmm. You knew that song before I just played it because you lied so much.
I saw out the loop.
What you listen to?
Whatever my daughter listens to.
Nursery rhymes and trap music.
No, girl, I cool now.
Give me you cool? What's that?
Cool.
Give me one song with Sierra's be playing around the house.
Hold on, not a song which she used to be playing, but you know the Bahamian artist I love right now?
Who that?
Bahamian Trey.
Oh, you got
Yeah, mother like me. You got mother on the beat. And the one with the teeth in? Oh, I love the one he does with Ronnie Butler. Love it.
I hear that
That's
one.
a great collaboration between old and new.
Baby
Love
Dre
it.
gotta go.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law was playing
Bahamian
that.
Trey, if I have a party for my daughter, you gotta come before for a plate of food, man. I ain't got no
you
money to
see?
pay.
This is the same thing Sammy Star was talking about. Y'all would
They-
just give
y'all-
artists play the food, said y'all pay them to do it.
For some
Do the
fritters?
job.
Some drinks?
Watch Baby Dre bless you, babe. You can listen to us on Channel 960 on cable, Bahamas. You can send an email. I don't even know if Ed checks that email. So email me instead at rogan@edfieldslive.com. And we want you to give lots of feedback on Ed Feels Live on Facebook. Dasheen, you got the sponsors. Let's get them out of the way. Our great sponsors.
Sponsors are Roman Meal Bread. It's made fresh every day, and guess what? It's available everywhere. Sunshine Insurance. Life is priceless. Insurance affordable. Sunshine Insurance. Local knowledge. Global reach. Arawak Homes. Woodlawn. Woodlawn. That's the wine. That's a wine talking. Oops.
You want to come up in here and drink this wine on the air?
Had you not scared me, I would need
Oh, we
to
get
calm
into
my
that.
nerves.
We get into that.
Woodlawn Gardens, because you care, we care forever. Alternative Dispute Resolution Bahamas. They help settle disputes and offer a wider range of solutions than those offered by litigation. Bristol Wines and Spirits, Wendy's, Coca-Cola, because things go better with Coke. Superwash. They washes you, presses you, feeds you, entertains you 24/7. We have 10 convenient locations and over 1,300 washers and dryers. Bahama Grill. Bahama Grill is the home of the world-famous conch burger and conch balls, their unique version of the conch fritter, only found at Bahama Grill. Taste the islands.
That's my thing.
Yeah, you know
Boy, I
they
kill
got,
Bahama
you know
Grill.
they have my number there.
Hey, yeah, they got your number because I give them your number. I can't even remember my own number.
Heineken. Try the new Heineken 16-ounce can, 2 for $5.50 at any 700 wines and spirits today. Island Luck, KFC, Insurance Management, Subway, National Fence and Scottdale Bedding, Summer Palace Chinese Restaurant and Lounge. Summer Palace is having happy hour this Friday with dim sum, sushi, Bahamian snacks, domestic
good.
beers, house wines, margaritas, and my favorite drink, mojitos. Special 5:30 p.m. to midnight. And Rev Bahamas.
We got some great sponsors, man.
Awesome.
Anybody wants to come on board, just hit that up. Let us know. So you had to cool your passion after I scare you.
You scared the hell out of me.
So I don't even know how you didn't see me. So I pulled up. First of all, I'm surprised you beat me here because you know you.
I don't
like
know
to come-
time.
You don't know time. You come 5 minutes. You just like your friend Ed. You come 5 minutes before showtime. And so when I saw your car downstairs, I saw the door open, and the first thing I said was, "Jesus Lord, the girl come to co-host with me today. I hope her car ain't get broken into." So I saw when the car jerked back. So I said, "Was someone in the car?" So I thought, why would I even go up to the car if I think somebody else in the car who ain't you? And when I saw you on the phone, I said, "Oh yeah, I could get you now." I wish y'all could hear the scream Tashina let out. You know there's somebody. What did I say? Give me your money.
I don't know what the hell you said. But my keys had dropped between the seat and the console, and I was looking for that.
But would
You scare me.
Would you sitting with the car door open?
You
for
see,
though,
because
in
I
these
had to create it. I had to
serious
create
times?
space to jam my hand down and find the keys. So my hand jam. You running up on the car, and I had just said to the person on the phone, I was having the most stressful day.
I didn't
You
see how
scared the
raised
hell
me.
out of me. I tell Kendrick, you godmother Sierra, you'd have been raising a 12-and-a-half-year-old today.
I was reneging on that promise, boss.
Oh, hell no, buddy. You kill our man. You're talking foolishness.
Dad's gonna help out. Her daddy's gonna raise her though.
Help out.
He wouldn't let me keep her. You know that.
12-and-a-half?
She
You
could come
gotta
with me
keep.
now. I
Yeah,
can
man.
do right by Sierra.
You
but-
better. You kill a man.
But
What about
at least
Roman?
I could-
What about
No,
Roman?
he go to eat daddy. Yeah, I don't need right. I don't need right.
See? This
I
is
ain't
the
got
same
no
bullshit.
emotional attachment to him just yet.
Yeah. See, squiffing up the kids. You kill their ma.
But afterwards, because I was killing myself laughing while you were having your little drink. But I remember. I don't know if you remember the last time when I played that prank on our mutual friend. Like I mouthed it.
Yeah.
So, so
But hold on, that wasn't funny though.
that was funny to me.
No, that
until
wasn't funny.
the tables turned. So I was away. This is after I graduated from school in Georgia. I was working
But
in
you
Georgia.
keeping too many secrets. You
No,
need
no,
to say
no.
what the prank was.
I can tell you what this prank was.
Say what the prank. Kendra, tell me if you should prank your friend like this
Okay.
to say that. What
Hold
was
on,
it?
hold on,
No,
hold
no,
on,
no.
hold
That
on.
their husband.
Yes, I wrote.
She wrote this
a fake
anonymous letter,
right?
to say your husband
Was
having
cheating
sex
on-
was
was
cheating
cheating
on
on- with- on
cheating
her with
on
me.
the
Let me
on the
get one-
on
let
our
one person
mutual
tell the
friend
story. Let one person
with
tell the
a
story.
girl. And what you were saying,
but
you were saying
it wrong.
you were saying you
But
were
you're
pregnant
saying it
now.
wrong, but you're saying it
So
wrong.
I say, why you ain't try that crap with me?
Let me tell you
Then
something.
she say, I know you crazy. I know
Let me
you
tell you
crazy.
something.
I'd have stopped her.
I wrote the
So,
letter
sorry.
anonymously.
Urquhart?
Yeah. You're threatening
We do
me
not
on
promote
air.
crime or
I
anything
told
like
her-
this.
I told her, said that I wrote it as an anonymous letter. Me and her used to have like these little fun things going back and forth. But yes, I did take it.
She took it to
this
another level.
Nothing to this level.
That ain't funny.
So I sent her this. I created this email, and email address, and I sent her an email. Elaborate. I mean, I don't even know how many pages that was.
She was idle.
Yeah, because you had to sell it, telling her that her husband was cheating on her with me, not me, Rogan, but me, this imaginary
the
woman,
phantom person. Mm-hmm.
and saying how I was pregnant with twins. Kendrick put a hand on his head.
Because Kendrick said you crazy. See, listeners.
And I signed it. So I can't remember the first name as I used, but I said Rockefeller. And I guess that was the giveaway because I always used to say that back in the day when we went to Love 97. No, she knew, man.
No, I called her after you told me what you did. I remember I told you I called her and I told her after you about to leave him and it could make
And
her
she
think
did.
twice. Right. So I called our friend after she said, oh my God, this is so funny. I played this prank. I said, girl, that ain't funny. I said I had a flight. You was in Atlanta too,
Yeah.
right? She was in college. I don't know where she get that time from. I was in Tennessee. I in school. I don't have no time for that.
Man, that was just too funny. So she went
So
along with this
she
joke
went
for
along and she
months
told
me that she
told
left
she
her
left-
husband.
left her
Now
husband.
that's when my heart dropped to the ground.
And then
I wanted to say
so
something
now
else.
she was saying, so you think I should
tell her or just leave it as it is. I didn't destroy the
you think I
gown.
should
All
tell
right.
her? You think I should tell her? I said, but we were laughing at her. I said, yeah, stress her right out.
Yeah, y'all got me
It come
good.
back in and bite her in her hip.
You know why she
You
was?
stopped that after that.
Oh yeah, I
doing
stopped that.
extreme
Yeah.
foolishness
yeah,
like
that.
that.
I was
that
done
was
with
just too out there.
Because she took months. I mean, like for months, she didn't talk to me. She didn't answer my calls or anything. She didn't respond to emails, and playing like her and the mom were going through such trials and tribulations, you know. So, anyway,
We
we're
was
good
laughing
friends
at
to this
you.
day. I'm
Yeah,
a godmother
good for
to
you.
her son, her firstborn.
Good for you.
So good.
Too
good,
like
good.
do foolishness.
Yeah, you next.
Yeah, next.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
I'll just
run
back
up on
with
you quick.
Anyway, so let's talk about what's going on. You run up on me? That threatened me on air, but what you can do? Watch Urkel come get you. Oh, our guest tonight for the sequel is Dr. Andre Rollins. He's Fort Charlotte MP. Lots of mixed feedback, mostly positive actually, about his appearance on our show on Monday. So I'm interested in hearing, some more from Dr. Rollins and what he has to say about his political future. So he'll be coming on around the 6 o'clock hour. And before that, we have a young man by the name of Travis Miller. He's going to be talking about a Starter Island project. They had a competition recently, and so he'll be giving us an update on that. Yeah, fantastic young man. I love having him come on
I
the
want
show.
to hear about the projects. Entrepreneurship
Yeah.
is key to growing the economy.
And we always talk about that too. We say we want to create people, or at least develop our youth, so that they want to enter the entrepreneurship ring more than working for somebody else.
Exactly.
So that's really, really
That's the
important.
mentality we need to grow.
Absolutely. So I'm looking in the paper. one story, Bahamar is dominating. I don't even really want to talk about Bahamar.
over it.
They're getting their money. Yeah, I'm kind of over it, and we'll see what happens next. But I wanted to talk about this Potter's Key redevelopment. It's in one of the papers, the Nassau Guardian's business page, because this subhead, this bothers me.
They should have just called this pure Bahamian.
The headline is Potter's Key redevelopment cost triples to $9 million. Okay, fine.
That costs off though. $9 million to develop Potter's Key? Please.
They
To do the shocks?
They didn't estimate right.
That's potting in
No,
that.
whatever else they're doing.
No,
That's a shock.
That's potting.
That,
Because you're going from $3 million to $9 million. Okay, number one. But get to what...
yeah, that's one issue we could talk about, right? But that's not even really the issue I want to talk
Yeah,
about.
I know.
today.
Yeah, issue.
The subhead says vendors seemingly unwilling to pay $42 monthly rental fee. $42. Okay. So I'm standing
Divided
with
by 4.
40, I mean a little over $10 a week. And you selling more conch salad and crack on go there than that.
But then you saying, okay, while I'm home, while you developing, I make something like $90,000 or $100,000 or whatever.
So,
What's the figure they gave
hold
that they
hold
made?
on. So
They said when they closed.
one of them submitted, but $90,000 per annum. And one person said that they made $123,000
But you can't
per
pay
annum.
$42
But you
a month.
can't. That's exactly what Alfred Gray is saying. I'm standing with him because, like you said earlier, what that is your overhead cost. You can't
Too
pay
much talk.
$42.
It's too much talk. I'm not even going to talk. You don't have the $42. Get your hip out of here. Because there's a pile of people who want to come in and
I won't
you
go in
understand what I'm
there.
saying? You saying you make
Kendra,
$90,000 a
you
year,
going in there.
but you can't pay $42
$42
a month.
Okay? I don't even accept
You know,
that.
if that was me and you, we were raising that.
Oh.
I would have raised that amount.
If I was going to raise that amount. I know they're making a killing out there. There's slow times in any business, period.
Even
but
if
you
they
can't
making a
pay
killing, if you can't
$42.
pay
That's a
$42
problem.
a
Then you don't
month,
need to be in
you don't-
business.
exactly,
You
get
don't
out
need
of
to be in
business.
business.
That's crazy.
But I think anytime the government is involved, people like to say, oh, well, I ain't got to pay the government. If it was a private company doing this or redeveloping the area and they said, okay, now the rent's going to be $300, they'd have I almost say the B word and moan and complain, but they would have paid it at the end of the day because they know
'Cause
there's
they
an
know they
opportunity to
would
make money
be-
out there. I applaud the government for redeveloping that area.
I don't buy that fee though.
The
I don't know
$9
about that
million fee. Yeah, fine. But I'm talking about the $42 a month you can't pay. It's prime real estate. You're at the foot of the
Prime
Paradise
location.
Island Bridge where it's
What
like
the
a tourist
heck?
mecca
You
across
can't
the
even rent
bridge.
a porta potty for $42 a month.
Yeah, I know, and you run. Sorry, vendors. And we get through this with the vendors out there and the straw market vendors. Sorry, I ain't on your run.
No.
$42 is nothing to pay
No.
when you're making
Bake one cake,
$123,000.
cut it up in slices, sell it after church.
Oh, I'm gonna go ask.
You understand what I'm saying?
I could get that. I need to
You
get
can
one
make your money.
stall
You
out
buy
there.
one box cake,
Yeah.
cut
And
the cake up.
just sell desserts out there.
You can make it $42. Easy.
I'm about to do that. Anyway, I'm start giving people my idea. That's why I reach out to the agriculture minister. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. She's a loser. Okay, you see, she's a loser. You're a man of
Only
action
this
and
girl
a
would call her best
business.
friend a loser.
So use the Shark Tank theme song.
Unfriended.
Good thing you got it.
Defriend.
Who ain't no Shark Tank theme song?
Me?
What you watching when you go home?
I watching Power.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay,
We'll
that's
take
fine.
that.
We'll
We'll
take
take
that. You're
We'll
lucky.
take that.
I thought you said like one of them little Oompa Loompa things for your kids. We're pleased to have Travis Miller back in studio to give an update on Starter Island competition.
Yes.
It gives young entrepreneurs an opportunity to develop business ideas. Travis has been here a million times.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to have you in the studio.
Feels comfortable now. Feels
Feel like home?
Feels like home. Yeah.
So every time I think about you, honest to God, I think about Shark Tank.
Yes.
So that's why I give you a little theme.
that's good. I like
Give you
it.
a little music, man. So you're part of Shift the Culture. I want you to tell the audience a little bit about the organization, how you came up with Starter Island.
Yeah, so Shift the Culture is a collective of Bahamian creators and entrepreneurs that get together just to talk and discuss ideas and possibly collaborate on those ideas. And one of those ideas that we kind of came up with as a community is Starter Island, which is that 5-day competition where we take entrepreneurs, and they have to work together as teams in those 5 days and then build a business by the end of those 5 days. So we did our third one in August, like a couple weeks ago, and it was a success. It was pretty good. We did it all in Nassau this time, because when we did the first one, we did it in Eleuthera. We did a second mini one. I mean, the first one was in Exuma. The second mini one was in Eleuthera, and then this time we did it in Nassau, and it was a good hit.
And you were telling us what the...
No, but you usually go out on a boat when you do this?
The first one we went on a boat. So we partnered with my co-founder, Stephen Cartwright, with Bahamas Revisited. And then we charter a boat, and then we go between Nassau and Exuma. And by the time we got back, we pitched it at Green Parrot in the harbor, harborfront. This year, we pitched it at John Watling's. We went to different places around Nassau those 5 days, and then we ended it at John Watling's.
And how many people were in the competition this time around?
So this year we had a total of 8 people in the competition, so 2 teams. Team 1 was the team that won, which is Finding Home, which is essentially an Ancestry.com, but for Bahamians. But
That's interesting.
Yeah, but it also takes a different perspective of how difficult it is to get a lot of documentation for different things that you need. So it kind of acts as a central hub to get that quality documentation kind of in one place. So you could do all the different things that you need to do.
So documents like what?
So like your birth certificate, your family history for records, like that stuff could play an important role in, say, real estate, like knowing who owns what property and different stuff like that. So all those different use cases is kind of like the value proposition of what Finding Home is.
So are they going to compile the information
So yes, so it's a lot of information obviously, but they're going to be working with different things. I think the main partner that they want to work with is COB.
Very good.
But there's also a few kind of people in silos who's already been doing if not their own family tree, other family trees, so working with them to kind of piece all that together. So they're going to be working on that.
Okay. So when does it launch though?
So they came up with the idea at the competition, and what we're going to do with them, since they won, we're going to work with them for 3 months. They technically already have stuff out there. They already got the website, which kind of acts as a blog right now. But we're going to work with them for 3 to 4 months, and then probably launch after that when we feel like it's in a good place to actually put out there and start getting stuff. So
Finding Home is a good idea. I remember one of my coworkers, every time she's, and Ed said this too on the show, that every time he would see the Ancestry.com ad on television, he would get a little jealous because it's difficult accessing old records in the Bahamas, you know?
Yes. And nothing's digitized. That's the first thing. So like you either have to go to a physical building to get your birth certificate, and then you have to pay for it and then come back. And then after like a few days, it'll be all that very tedious. And Lord forbid if it burns down without it getting digitized,
I like the idea, but do they have like where if I wanted to do me and I knew like my family, different generations, if I can give them all the information
So
just as a information storage bank.
Yeah, so it could be user generated like that as well, because they get value from that, but also that's your information digitized. So that's definitely what they want to do. They want to a couple things that they want to do on top of the website. They want to make a mobile app, giving it more access to people to put in their content. So that's kind of on their roadmap for things that they want to do before they fully launch.
Right. So Starter Island isn't open just to Bahamians. So did you have any foreigners, international participants?
We had. This was a very unique competition too, because we also had people fly in, but from the Bahamas. So we had 3 people from Eleuthera fly in for this one. And then in terms of internationally,
were they on the winning team?
No. Well, no, a few of them were, because it mixed up. So I think one person from Eleuthera was on the winning team, and then the 2 others from Eleuthera were on the next team, which is Island Do, which is essentially
what's their idea?
A interactive curation of different things to do around town. So like, say, for example, if you go to the fort and you have your app, there'll be like a code or something there that opens up a platform for you to use. Like, say it may be audio driven, a tour around the fort.
Oh, they do that.
I think
certain
somebody's
places
already
away.
doing that though.
But that's the thing. So the ideas, there's a million different ideas, and some of them are like the same, but it's all about execution, which we always say. So if someone's doing it now, they either could find that person and work with them, or kind of figure out what doesn't work, or they could go their own way. It might come out differently. So it's all about different executions.
Right.
Who were some of the judges involved? Because they had to go before a panel of judges, right?
Yes. So you had Atal Pinder.
I remember her.
Then you had Paige Hanna, who was actually a competition partner of ours, who does Pirate Bay Aquaplay, which is the floating like water park that is at Junkanoo Beach. Just is brand new. And then we had Greg Colley, the second, who does cookie caterer. Best cookies on
he
best
does
cookies on the island.
He goes to a lot of forums. He's very good.
Yeah. So we had them as a panel of judges, John Watland, so it was very good. They all gave a lot of great insight for the teams.
So what were the judges looking for?
Yeah.
So the main criteria that we gotta guide the judges to do, because they have their own feedback on a lot of that, and we want them to do that. But the main things we want to do is one, we keep in mind that these ideas only have 5 days to be completed, but they still look for in terms of profitability and scalability. So we do have some numbers that we want the contestants to kind of put in there, but also in terms of presentation, in terms of the amount of work needed to either pull it off. And then they also look at the team to see the kind of the team dynamic of those different ideas, and could they work together and do the experiences that they bring kind of help the team and all those different things.
And you said you're going to work. Is it a team of people who's going to work with the winning team for 3 months?
So it'd mainly be myself and our production team that does videography and photography. Like we all do kind of our own creative services, so we kind of work together and work with those teams to do most of the stuff that they need to do.
So the idea would potentially make money off of persons registering to find out more about their family history.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Did they have a pricing structure in place?
I think they only had their expenses at that point, and they're still trying to refine their pricing structure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Love it. What's the age range
Usually
of the winning team?
For the winning team, I think the age range was the youngest person was 19. And I think the oldest person was probably about 34, 35.
Oh, wow. That's wide.
Folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I think it was like between 25 and 26 for the other two teammates.
Okay.
So let's talk. What are the prizes that they win?
So the main prize that they win is us working with them. Ideally, since South Island, this is the third one. Ideally, I want to get to the point where we get enough people interested in it, where we could probably do something where we do a cash prize in the future, or our main thing is to get investors interested in what we're doing, so they could kind of get that direct investment between different
You
teams.
need to partner with the Bahamas Venture Fund or something.
Yeah, so we actually talked with Sean, and he gave us a lot of feedback on different approaches and how we could take
Right.
it as well. But I know the program itself, this is our third one, and we're still refining it.
Right.
So it's going to be a lot of
Yeah,
growing
I
things,
love
but
the
we
idea
get
of
to the
it.
point
I
where
think-
we get the
yeah.
actual funding in there, whether it's through angel investment or the venture fund or all
Right.
that.
I remember too when you were here the last time, Ed was mentioning or pitching the idea of extending this into like high schools.
Correct.
So is that still something that you have?
That's still on the line, and actually, I can't say too much about it, but
Don't preempt it.
no, yeah, but that is the goal, because I guess the initial thing that we talked about is getting it in high schools. Like they don't care about risk and all those different
they're
things, so
risk takers.
they're willing to try crazy ideas.
Yeah, and a natural partner too would be like junior achievement, eh?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because certain things, it's just a natural partnership. Is some synergy involved, you know?
Yeah.
I love this idea.
And then we're
I
also
want to jump on this.
Hey, and we're also exploring options with universities.
Right.
That's all
I like that.
could say right now about all
Yeah.
that. So
Remember
yeah.
that winning idea I had that I called you?
I had no winning idea.
Yes.
Oh, you mean that one?
Yes.
That one. Yeah, that was good.
That was a good idea.
That's a fantastic idea. I could jump in on that with you.
Yeah.
But you lose momentum. These people don't lose momentum.
Man, I
You
could.
got to sustain.
Should I say my idea?
No.
Because it is. You don't have to really establish an office. You can have a virtual office and just have the people, information, and data banks, like executive assistants.
And you could do a lot
Like
of
if
things
you need,
different remote.
and then if you need like an executive
in.
assistant for a day, not regular little tempy people. Like say you need someone high powered can come in and function or whatever the case may be. Or if you have operating a home at Lifer Key and you coming down and you want concierge services, you just need to hire people for like an hour, 2 hours, or 24 hours, or 48
Like
hours.
it's similar, like
72
a
hours.
virtual assistant almost, but
Yeah.
actually high powered enough for them to actually
Yes.
fly in personally and do
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to take a break, Kendra?
That's a great idea. Hey.
Okay, we're going to break for news.
Don't
So
let them
Travis,
people-
don't go
oh,
anywhere. Look
cool.
at this. Oh, they fist bumping over here now.
Fist bump, you
Jump.
better give me this discount on this web building thing.
We'll be right back on Ed Feels Live. Welcome Welcome back to Ed Fields Live. Rogan Smith here, joined by Tashina Robinson Blair, Kendrick Williams, and Travis Miller of Starter Island. We're in the final minutes with Travis because we've got Dr. Andre Rollins standing by for his interview. But Travis, just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the plans for next year. What do you see happening in 2017 besides the general election?
Man, I mean, that was what I was gonna say, but with Starter Island especially, well, is kind of an overall bigger thing with the shift to culture community, because a lot of things happen organically, but a lot of those things kind of are connected or related to each other. Like the meetups led to the pitch nights that lead to stuff like Starter Island. Any person's thing, and entrepreneurship, like you said, is a key thing. So how could we not only get more people involved, but actually show what the value of this community is and have it all kind of come together organically? So that's like the overall bigger thing. And in terms of Starter Island, like I said, we've done 3 of these already, and we learned a lot from the different challenges as well as, what we're actually providing. So, it may be a little bit more refining, but we probably want to take it to the point where more tangible things come out of stuff like this.
Government funding or something.
Oh yeah, even that could be down the line. So I think the main thing, especially what we did it, is that we just wanted to prove to ourselves as creatives that we could do something on this scale, and not just talk about it and just actually do it. And with that, we also kind of built our chemistry with each other and that sense of trust in the community. So that was the most important thing. So once we could continue to do that, as well as kind of add that value, then, that's probably, that'll be the North Star of what we need to go.
I think I like funding more from like angel networks where, private individuals or whatnot can just give you the money rather than government funding. Well, I just feel like it always comes with red tape,
Yeah.
And that discourages a lot of, it discourages the entrepreneurial spirit sometimes.
Yeah, and it's definitely pros and cons. Mainly the biggest thing is red tape might be,
but they're just in terms of donating a prize.
Yeah, something like that.
You understand what I'm saying?
There's different perspectives of red tape. Mainly the biggest thing with red tape is just like the time it takes to actually execute versus who's who and what's what. Is because when you go through that, it's like you gotta.
The first time will be the most difficult.
Steps.
The second time is just like who your contact person. Who to go to.
Right. But like I said, we've had a lot of support either verbally and not verbally from like the Ministry of Youth and the Ministry of Education, who definitely want to get involved with us. Yeah. And it's in a direct effect if you go to the schools and the universities and the people trying to do this stuff.
Connect.
So with that being said, we're definitely open to do that, and we want to do it where it has a solid foundation for many years to come. And even on the next thing with angel investment is a lot of that as well. Like you have a lot of private investors who have money in like either Life for Key or anything like that, who are looking for something to invest in and don't know what, because there is no platform to put it out there. So we're looking to build that as well. And once those kind of worlds start to collide, you have the startup community itself start to grow. So
you would probably need to form like a charitable kind of organization to accept money on behalf.
Like I said, this is...
It's room to grow. I love this idea.
I've been home for 2 years.
How old
it's
are
very
you?
open. 27. Only 27.
You looking for a boyfriend?
No.
That's not... Hey, when you hear people asking... You're looking for a
But the crazy thing is what I tell everybody too, and I don't know if I said it before already, is that in a perfect world, I would be a part of this community because I've been in part of this. It's just crazy and surreal that we are the ones kind of taking the charge to do it. And what that is the lessons to self, because we realize it's hard. Like it's very, very hard. But it's a fight worth fighting for the different generations.
Well, we got to go, but I don't want to leave before giving you a chance to give a shout out to your sponsors. I know that's an important part of all this.
Super special shout out to all the sponsors that helped us. The John Watling's, Compass Point, Coca-Cola, even our competitor sponsors, Island House, True Bahamian Food Tours, Ultimate Tours Bahamas, Pirate Bay Aquaplay, JetLink Adventures. All those guys kind of support us along the way.
I love your sponsors for seeing the vision. You know what I mean? Because some people don't see it. So I like the fact that they saw the vision.
No, they got it right away. Like even like Pirate Republic is like, they may not a lot of, and it's a crazy thing because a lot of money isn't there, but there's a lot of, okay, I may not have this, but what
A
can
lot
I
of the
possibly
in-kind
do for you
sponsorship. What
to
can I
get
do?
this
We
to
can
happen?
host, we can do this, we can do that,
Right.
and it pulls it together.
Yeah.
And pulls it together.
We
So
gotta
yeah.
go. Sorry, Travis, but this is home to you.
Yeah, you
so
know, yeah.
you'll be back.
I'll be back.
And
be
don't
back.
wait for the next Starter Island.
No.
You got an idea? Just
No.
come on, pop on over. Your
Cool.
open invitation.
Thank you
We
very
love
much.
Here. Thank you so much, Travis. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Ed Fields Live. I'm Rogan Smith here with Tashina Robinson Blair, Kendrick Williams on the board, and we're joined by so many words I could use to describe this guest, but the lovely. I'll say that word. The rebel rouser.
What did you say? I thought you were talking about Andre.
Andre. I thought what you
when you say lovely, I thought you meant me.
No. You can use so many words to describe him, but I'm just going to leave it to lovely. He got a rebellious streak. There's a lot of stuff going on. You ain't never hear me say lovely with you.
You just say beautiful before. Well,
Don't hold me to that.
Bye, George.
Good evening, Dr. Rollins. I call you Andre.
Yes, please, man.
How you
We
doing?
dismissing all formality here. Good evening to you, beautiful ladies. Thank
And
you
he's
for having
settling
me.
in.
Hey, he learns quickly because the last time he was calling Ed Mr. Fields, he said, "Look here, stop calling me that here." On that
But I see why Ed is so informal when he's in here because the
that
chair is
chair?
is so comfortable.
This death trap chair. I hope you don't fall.
Is it?
Listeners, if you hear Andre fall, don't sue.
Well, we don't work for Kiss. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. You know what, Rogan? I don't know that I've ever been called lovely anything.
Well, see, there you go.
So this is a first, and I just, I want to tell you just how warm and fuzzy I feel inside.
See?
You know.
This is what I expect. He is a wonderful guest. Yeah.
Greasing you up.
Greasing him
You
up.
know,
She greasing you up.
one thing I've learned about female journalists, when they sweeten you up like that, it's usually because
going for
they're
the
getting
kill?
ready to take your
Yeah.
knees out from under you. You see?
doing
So I'm gonna be very cautious as I proceed.
No, right.
Yeah.
And why did Sheena get this water bottle blocking your face? Let me see that
Oh,
lovely
man.
face. Move that bar.
Boy,
She know you mind.
Man, listen here. She making me feel like a million, man. Please don't let me down, Rogan.
Man,
Let me tell you
he
why.
getting red and all.
Let me tell you why. Because my niece need braces, and I might need that family discount. Are you so serious?
Good one.
There you go. Tati
The
coming.
way-
Tati coming for that
The way
braces.
you got me feeling right now, I may very well just do that. You know?
Oh, no. Okay. Interview over. Thank you for coming.
Yes,
really
no.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
No, but it was such a pleasure. I've interviewed you maybe several years ago when I worked another media house, but I hadn't spoken to you, Andre, for a number of years, and so Monday was like a nice little reintroduction to you. And we talked a lot. Tashina and I were having a conversation about what you said on the show, and one of the questions I asked you was, what drew you to the Progressive Liberal Party? But one of the things I didn't ask you is what drew you to politics, because you're an accomplished man, well educated, wonderful orthodontist, but what was it that you didn't have to do this? You didn't have to enter the political arena. What drew you to that life?
I genuinely have an interest in trying to advance our country, and I believe politics is the most powerful instrument by which we can affect change in our country. If you look at it, this country, the irony is that politics is so powerful that it is single-handedly the most destructive instrument responsible for damaging this country. And on the flip side, it has the potential to be the most constructive or effective instrument at rebuilding it. But I believe if it is the instrument, as an analogy, then it requires the right pair of hands to use it to effect the type of positive change that the country so desperately needs.
Yeah.
And I think, unfortunately, the instrument has been, certainly right now, is in the wrong hands. My passion is to, whenever my political career comes to an end, whenever I walk off this earth, I would like to have forged a very memorable and powerful tenure in politics, so that when Bahamian children in the future read about the development of this country and the political history of this country, I will rank as one of the best politicians up to that point that has ever participated in our politics. And I don't say that because I have a huge ego that needs to be stroked, but that is my aspiration, to be so influential in our country's politics that when I leave, I've left a track record of significant accomplishments. And as I was saying to Rogan and Ed a few days ago, to this point, I don't have many accomplishments to speak of. As a matter of fact,
But you're
I
new
don't.
to the game.
I'm new
So
to the
there's
game,
time to grow into
you know?
that.
And so I do believe that I have a calling coming into politics, which is why when I entered politics, I didn't come in asking the FNM or the PLP for a nomination. Something inspired me that led me to make a move. And I'll never forget the day that I nominated in Elizabeth. I had a Nike Strong T-shirt on. And, you know, everything was something strong. You know, they've played on this strong theme with the Boston
Boston
terrorist
Strong.
attack, Boston Strong. Everything's been something strong. Well, Nike played on that theme with a number of its shirts, and I can't remember what came ahead of the strong on the shirt, but it was a black shirt, and it had gold or yellow lettering. And I took my 400 quarters that day, and I said, listen, the PLP and the FNM are supposed to be the juggernauts politically in this country, but they're going to remember me. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to focus on a message. And based on the power of that message, the strength of that message, I would begin to change the political narrative in this country. And people will say oftentimes, correctly so, that talk is cheap, that the words don't matter. It's the actions. It's what you've done substantively to, you know, make a difference that really matters, right? Well, I'm not in a position right now where I have the means to, politically speaking, to really do all that I would like to do. My goal is to try to get to that point where I'm able to influence things politically as much as I'd like to. But I remember wearing that shirt on that day and feeling as though I had a chance to make a difference.
Right.
History will reflect that I indeed did make a difference in that by-election. Because, and just to end it here, because had those votes not gone to me or not gone to some of the other participants who were not successful, the outcome of that election would likely have been much different. And it just set off a chain of events thereafter that I think propelled me to be in the position I'm in today.
Sorry, you wanted to jump in there?
So you're talking about making a difference, going down in history. What's your leadership style, your political leadership style? How is it different from what's already out there that's making you so unique?
Yeah. If I were in a position to influence decision making, one thing that I would do is ensure I'm a very confident person. I'm secure in myself, and very plain spoken. Sometimes I will acknowledge I take a little longer than I need to get to my point. I just like to be honest. But you may not often like what I have to say, or may not feel that I need to say it because of how blunt it is, the message that I'm delivering. But I believe the problem that we have is that we are too afraid to confront the issues plaguing us. And the first step towards recovery is to first admit that you have a problem. And we have a problem in this country. And the problem is that politics is not being effectively used. It's actually associated with a lot of corruption. And it is guilty of not ensuring that all of the best players are involved in trying to effect the change. So what I would bring to Sheena is a willingness to employ the talents of the very best this country has to offer, whether they be male or female, black or white, whatever the case may be.
Let me ask you this. If you were a leader of a party, would you want an Andre Rollins in your party?
Absolutely. I don't want...
With all your outspokenness, with the things that you've said about
might
your
feel that
former
you're not
leaders.
a team player.
Yeah. You would
You
take
would
an
want-
Andre Rollins on your team?
I absolutely would, and I'll tell you why. Because emotional intelligence is pivotal to any effective leader. It's not a matter of fearing, or one shouldn't fear an individual being outspoken, because an individual ultimately who rails against the establishment, when the establishment is doing a lot of good, will undermine his or her own effectiveness or importance as a national figure. If I am complaining about something that is working well, then I can easily undo my own utility or usefulness
Right.
to the organization that I'm a part of. But if the organization that I'm a part of is failing at its primary responsibility, and I
Speak out
I
against
speak
that.
out against it, I acknowledge that this is something that needs to change, because if it doesn't, not only is the country going to fail, but the organization that I'm a part of will fail
Sure.
as well, then I will be respected as somebody who calls it like it is. Now, if I was a leader and I had somebody like that trying to draw attention to the failings of the organization that I lead, clearly then if I pay attention to that voice, my tenure as leader is likely to be more successful. If I ignore it and I criticize that person for speaking up, then persons on the outside looking in are going to say, this individual is not a good leader because he is not willing to accept the constructive criticisms of those in his team. And I think that's why I've been accepted, because the public sees all is wrong in this country, and they recognize that I'm trying to speak out for and on behalf of the best interests of the Bahamian people.
Okay, are we going to continue this conversation? We have to take a break. Kendrick's been telling me for 3 minutes now, so we'll be right back with Dr. Andre Rollins right here on Ed Fields Live. Welcome back to Ed Fields Live. Rogan Smith here with Tashina Robinson Blair, my co-host, and Kendrick Williams. We're chatting with Dr. Andre Rollins, Fort Charlotte MP. Certainly one of the most memorable backbenchers I've encountered in my many years in the journalism. Yeah, very outspoken. Let me ask you something before, because Tashina has a question, but do you ever regret some of the things that you say, Dr. Rollins?
Not one. Not one. I think, would I do things differently? Everything that I've done, I believe that it has been for a reason. But what I would like to say is that I will admit that
Because some of the stuff is harsh.
some of the stuff is harsh. Some of the stuff is harsh. I think I can admit to recognizing that I could have said it perhaps more often, drawing back to something that Ed mentioned the other day. I could do it without appearing to be so angry. The problem with that is, or I could have smiled more. The problem with that is that it perhaps would have made it seem as though it was a game for me, and that I was making sport of what I was talking about, and I was dead serious. I was just cold, and that anger within me really reflects how unhappy I am with the state of affairs in this country. But any things that I have done that have, in the minds of Bahamians, come across as being immature, hopefully one thing I will have taken from my time thus far in politics going forward is an appreciation for how to be more statesmanlike and to appear to be more mature in how I address certain issues. However, don't take that to mean that if I had to do it all over again, I would change anything, because I believe that everything that has happened to this point was meant to happen that way. And so, as I was mentioning to you off air, I believe that everybody in life and in politics, you have to go through an evolutionary process. And as I was a boy once and I'm a man now in politics, I'm a neophyte still. And at some point, I expect to be a political veteran. And the experiences I've had in totality will hopefully allow me someday to mentor a political neophyte to rise the political ladder and get to the point where I'll hopefully be in the future.
The thing is, times have changed, and so we're like in an electronic age, and so a lot of the things that politicians may have gotten away with saying back in the day, they weren't recorded the way they are now, and so the things that you say today in 2016 could haunt you in 2056. You know what I'm saying?
This is true.
So
One thing that I said that I think at some point people may look back on and say, well, why did you feel a need to say that? Just being brutally honest. When I allowed the needling that happens inside the chambers, where people try to get under your skin and they try to take advantage of your temperament or your propensity to get irritated or angry as a result of their criticisms, or not even criticisms, as a result of you not taking lightly their attempts to disparage your character. See, I don't mind if you say anything about me, Rogan. Let it be true. And if it's true, I will speak to it, I will acknowledge it, and then I will be brutally honest in explaining myself.
Right.
But if it's not true, I take offense at that. And I believe in protecting my character, my reputation, my integrity. So when people say things or said things to me in the chamber in an attempt to just get under my skin, hoping to provoke me to say something rash or to say something that I would potentially regret, I allowed myself at one point to defend myself where I ought not to have defended myself, because
if you know they're poking the bear and you know your temperament, Andre. You know your temperament. You know yourself. So if you know people, you have a propensity to, like for me, I do have a propensity to go off.
Yeah.
So I have to take like a chill moment and not allow people to poke me to the point where I explode or I do something that I'm going to regret later on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Tashina, you had a question. Sorry.
I wanted him to respond to people who would say you're a loose cannon, you're not a team player. What would you say with regards to that?
And I think you're alluding to my criticisms of Prime Minister Christie. I took the approach that I would handle any concerns that I had about the performance of the PLP administration that at the time I was a part of as a backbencher, that I would privately communicate with the Prime Minister and other leaders of the government to be someone who would offer that constructive criticism in hopes that once it was offered privately, there would be evidence of them taking heed of that advice and altering their approach or performance. Particularly with respect to the Prime Minister, what I found was that he was a very persuasive listener. He would give you the impression that not only was he hearing what you had to say, but that he would act on the recommendations or the constructive criticisms that you were offering. I find the Prime Minister as nice and likable as an individual, as nice and likable of an individual as he is. He is, in my view, the most effective political,
And you're choosing your words.
and I'm
wisely.
choosing my
Well,
words
that's good.
carefully.
There you go.
He is the most effective political persuader of any other member in Parliament. And by that I mean that he will have you believing that whatever he says, you can take that to the bank. I found, however, that it was all hot air. He's filled with this capacity to speak eloquently and to have this romantic language that causes you to believe that he's capable of doing all that he says he's going to do, and the outcome is going to be fantastic.
What would you have preferred for him to say?
The problem is that nothing that he said
come to fruition.
ever materialized. And I felt that the only way that I could have him take my criticism seriously was for me to go public. And so I tried to convey through my through my contributions in the House, in the debates, I tried to be as straightforward as I could be, communicating what I was previously communicating to him privately when my advice was falling on deaf ears. I tried to then communicate that publicly. While I was speaking to the public, I was expecting that he would, as he was listening to what I had to say in the chamber, that it would force him to take it more seriously.
But before the war of words ensued between you and Mr. Christie, did you pull him aside and say, listen, I'm growing restless, I'm growing frustrated? Did you give him any inkling that you were incredibly unhappy at that moment before you went public?
The problem is that Mr. Christie, and for those who doubt my series of events or my sincerity in what I'm saying, take into consideration that the PLP hasn't had a convention since 2009. They are about to have a convention again in November, the first one in 7 years. Mr. Christie has been expert not just at promising and not delivering on those promises, but he's been an expert in dodging accountability as an elected official, not just elected as leader of the government, but he has refused to go through the process of renominating as leader of the party. Because at convention, that all of the offices become vacant. And rather than put himself in position to go back to the delegates of a PLP convention to ask them to re-elect him, he has preferred to postpone a convention as often as he can.
There's a stalling tactic.
So it's a stalling tactic. That's what I'm saying. Privately,
You said he's very persuasive.
Yeah, no, but yeah.
But you think he's not persuasive enough to retain his seat?
he's very persuasive at deferring. So he would speak to you and have you believe that he's going to get on this, and all the while you are being assuaged, you're being pacified. You think that, hey, he's going to deal with it. It's coming. You wait, and you realize that nothing is changing. And with the PLP not having a convention since 2009, he has consistently applied this delay tactic in saying we're going to do it.
Has the party been demanding it, though?
See, the problem is that anybody who speaks or is vocal in calling for a convention is somebody who is dubbed, as Tashina's asked me, as not being a team player. So when you become vocal now, clearly you're not a good PLP because, you're not a team player. Why you keep calling for a convention? Man, we got a country to run. We gotta govern this country. Yet the constitution of the party calls for annual conventions.
Absolutely.
And so Mr. Christie's approach is, we're going to stall as long as possible rather than have a convention 2 years in when I could be reminded by the public and PLP delegates that I would only serve for 2.5 years and I would turn the reins of the party over to my successor. We're going to bypass that midpoint period. We're going to get all the way up to the eve of a general election where at that point I can say it's too late to turn the reins over now. The party would fall apart like, as Mr. Christie says, has happened with the FNM. So by waiting until the 11th hour now, it is logical in the minds of PLP delegates who, being fair to them, don't want to lose the general election. Now in their minds, they're not thinking, oh, well, now is the time for succession. They're saying, no, now is the time to win a general election. And we can't win a general election if we're going to have all of this heated rhetoric from the different competing sides that are vying for the leadership. And therefore, they're going to tell people like Mr. Sayers and others to stand down. And so being a team player in the minds of those who lead the party, who have been in politics for 4 decades or near to it, in their mind, being a team player means maintaining the status quo. And I am, as we talked about earlier, I am about changing the status quo.
But do you think novice politicians, new politicians, do you think they're valued within the 2 main political parties? Or are they just new faces to parade right before the election for votes?
Window dressing. And that is what I was. That is what all of the quote-unquote new generation PLP leaders were, and those who remain are. And it is for the Bahamian people to determine whether they will reward the PLP for using a lot of empty rhetoric and, quite frankly, lies to convince the Bahamian people that they were worthy of re-election. If the Bahamian people are angry or are angered or are angry about the fact that they were lied to, then they will vote against the PLP in the next election. But if they re-elect the PLP, then as far as I'm concerned, the PLP will learn from the electorate that it is okay to lie to them and to paint a picture that does not reflect the truth. Because the truth was not. The truth as far as the electorate was concerned was that the PLP was turning the party and the government over at some point during this term to a new generation.
But
that
you
hasn't
still
happened.
have your counterparts like Ryan Pinder and Kalis Roll, and
Where's Ryan Pinder? Where's Ryan Pinder?
Well, he's out now,
Yeah.
but he still lasted longer.
And you know why Ryan Pinder is out? Because Ryan Pinder recognized that this was a most dysfunctional and incompetent government, and Ryan Pinder did not want to be tarred and stained by its record of failure and lack of achievement. Ryan Pinder had expressed that he could not function in that dysfunction. And so the narrative...
You heard him say
and
that.
so, no, the fact of the matter is, put the question to Ryan Pinder and let Ryan Pinder explain exactly why he left. Because anybody who understands Ryan Pinder's ambition...
No. But before you even say that, but she asked you the
That's
question,
your question.
did you hear him say that? Because you're making pronouncements about what he said and what he felt.
I didn't say what he said. I said why he left. Now I am not going to
playing with words
I am
now.
not going to report what he said to me. I am telling you why he left. I didn't quote him, but I would encourage any member of the press, because I doubt Ryan Pinder is happy with the fact that he has been labeled as someone who left to make loads of money. I think he recognizes the error of his ways in allowing that description to settle in the minds of the Bahamian electorate, because he's come across as being a greedy man who left so that he could stuff his pockets. And he could do that by going to the job that he left for at Deltec Bank, where he's no longer employed.
Yeah, but you're saying the dysfunction drove him away.
I'm saying dysfunction and that in the PLP administration drove him away.
We got to take a break, but when we come back, Andre, we're going to do like a rapid round because we have like about 15 minutes left in this, and I want to talk about your political future. A lot to talk about. We'll be right back on Ed Fields Live. Welcome back to Ed Fields Live. Rogan Smith here with Tashina Robinson Blair, Kendrick Williams, and the incomparable Dr. Rollins. Dr. Andre Rollins. Yeah, I lotioned him because I'm trying to get them braces for Tati, I didn't tell you. So, Andre, you've represented Fort Charlotte for nearly 5 years now. Have you, I assume you want to take it into another 5 years with Fort Charlotte. I don't know what you're feeling, but have you taken the temperature of your constituents to see if they'd be open to even having you come back?
Well, I can tell you that it has not been the easiest 5 years. As you know, I entered the House of Assembly as a member of the PLP, and I'm grateful to all of the persons in the PLP who assisted me in ensuring my elevation to the House of Assembly. But clearly, there are a number of those persons who were none too happy that I left the PLP, but I felt as though I had no choice. The supporters of the PLP are, and I think Mr. Ingram, he articulated
With the heart of the people is with the PLP?
The fact that the PLP is a religion to a lot of its supporters, and their emotional attachment to the PLP is
very strong.
unshakable in a lot of cases. I think now we are perhaps at a point where there may not, the bonds may not be as
Tight.
unbreakable as they
generation
were
is dying
because
out.
that generation is, as you say,
Slowly
moving
dying
on.
out,
Yes. And so the younger generation, the generation that we are a part of, we are not as politically loyal. And so if there's a criticism, it's that, and I don't believe it's a criticism actually, if there's something that can be said about the difference between our generation and the generations that preceded us, is that we are not blind followers.
Right.
And to be frank with you, that is the best thing for this country's future, for the electorate represented primarily by those between the ages of 18 and 40, really, for us to be very impartial in our assessment of the state of affairs of this country and not accept what's going on simply because we identify with a particular political party. The PLP didn't appreciate my brand of candor. They didn't appreciate my offering constructive criticism openly, and I paid a price for that.
Can we
You
stop
felt
you
that
right
you
there?
felt
Yeah.
that
Hold
F&M
on, hold on.
appreciated it?
Well, I'll say this. I believe that I am going to be an asset
To the F&M.
to the FNM. I believe that.
Do they recognize that?
Whether that means I will be an asset in this election or in a future election, that remains to be seen. For Fort Charlotte, just to get to this point,
Yeah.
I thank the people of Fort Charlotte for giving me the opportunity to enter the halls of the House of Assembly for this term. I will never forget the opportunity that they gave me, and going forward in my political career, I hope to be an asset to the people of Fort Charlotte by the contributions that I make politically in the future. However, as it stands now, the FNM, as you will learn, I expect in tomorrow's paper or papers, will be ratifying a new candidate for the FNM for the constituency of Fort Charlotte in the person of Mark Humes. And I wish Mr. Humes,
Who was in the
who
DNA.
was the former chairman of the DNA, I wish Mr. Humes well in his efforts to be the next member of parliament for the constituency of Fort Charlotte.
So where does that leave? Well,
Where does it leave
where does
you?
that leave you?
Well, where that leaves me is that if I do run in this next election, there is no guarantee that I'll be running as a member of the Free National Movement. It does not mean, however, that I do not support the Free National Movement in its attempts at regaining this government. I want to see the FNM successful in the next election.
So I'm
If I
hearing
do run, there is a possibility that I run as an independent, if not for the Free National Movement.
Because you said you won't seek a nomination, but if they give you one, you'll take it. That's what you said on Monday.
I said that I would consider one if offered. But there is a history in the FNM of accepting independence. And I don't need to go too far back to refer to that history. And so if I am to run in this next election as an independent, then I would want everyone to know that it is my intention to rejoin the Free National Movement.
So you have to run and play nice.
And play nice how?
Why vote for you? Okay. Is the tendency to cast aspersions at who competing for the seat. So if you're running against two other mainstream candidates, you're running as an independent, why vote for you? Independents, would they get into the parliament and they can't do much?
Well, no. You're assuming
they can't do much in terms of getting any kind of budget or money because they're not aligned with the government. They're not even aligned with the opposition.
You're assuming that I intend to remain independent. I'm saying that from day one.
So you run.
I would be
run independent. Then you switch to your side
before we even are sworn in as members of the House of Assembly. It is my intention, if God willing, I am successful, that I would be resuming a seat in the House of Assembly affiliated with the Free National Movement.
So basically, this would be kind of confusing to the voters because if they're running for you, if they're voting for you as an independent, they want you to remain independent in the House.
Well, the reality
because
is
they want that brand of candor. They want honesty. They want you to hold government's feet to the fire. Can you do it?
But he did that in two parties, though.
He did it in two parties, but he wasn't elected. You see the difference?
Well, he was elected for the first one.
Okay, he was elected for the first one. He switched sides, and he's losing his seat because of that.
Oh, you know the future.
I don't know.
Said you're losing the future.
No, meaning that I don't have a nomination.
He doesn't have a
meaning
nomination.
That I don't have a nomination.
And
you know, but you know, the reality is.
Well, now you have that open disclosure. So if they're gonna vote for you, if in the future if in 2017 you run as an independent, then you're saying now to the people,
to the voters,
you want to go F&M.
Put it this way. The people of Long Island want me to run, and if they were asked in advance of the candidate being selected for the F&M for Long Island, I am 100% confident that I would easily retain the confidence of the people of Long Island to represent them in this next election.
But let's play this out.
The F&M's candidate.
So Dr. Minnis was quoted, I think, there's a story in today's paper saying that he's going to endorse Loretta Butler Turner as the Long Island MP, right? The candidate. So you would run as an independent in Long Island.
And then switch to F&M.
And then switch to the F&M.
You can... let's play this out.
What I'm saying is...
because that could be dangerous because if people want to cast a protest vote, kind of switch it out because you can split Loretta Butler Turner vote.
I think Dr. Minnis is going to Long Island on Monday, cognizant of the fact that he's fielded many calls of disgruntled Long Islanders who want another representative, who want someone else to run for the F&M in Long Island. If they are given an opportunity to voice their concerns in advance of the candidate being selected, then I am confident that Dr. Minnis, if, as he has indicated in the past, which is that he would allow the people of the constituency to determine for themselves who they want to run as a candidate in their constituency. I'm certain that Dr. Minnis would say if it is a choice of his to make, that would be one thing. But if it's a choice for the people of that constituency to make, and he wants to promote that brand of democracy, that it would be an entirely different choice, that it would not be Loretta Butler Turner that the people of Long Island are calling for. They would be calling for someone else.
And you're
And that's
confident
you.
that Long Islanders want you, because let me tell you about our people.
They say one
We
thing
say
and they
one
do
thing to
the
your
next.
face, and they do something
Because
else behind your back.
from what I was hearing, she got a lot of points for just being on the ground right after walking.
What I would say is Long Island. I know Long Island is deep south, and the journalists don't get an opportunity to go on the ground in Long Island. But you allow journalists to go on the ground in Long Island and find out if they feel a connection to Loretta Butler Turner. And I'm saying that not out of any personal animus towards her. I'm just letting you know what the feelings of the people I've interacted with in Long Island are, and they are not. The reality is that they're not asking the party to return her to Long Island. And I think that if you really wanted to know what is going on down there, you wouldn't take secondhand information. You'd go for yourself and find out what they're saying.
And the voters are okay with you voting for you as independent, and then that translating later to an F&M vote. You canvass the voters about that, and they're okay with that?
The voters of Long Island,
They just want
the
you.
voters of Long Island ultimately, I expect, will have an opportunity, maybe as soon as next week, to be heard as far as what they would like to happen with respect to the F&M. If their voices are ignored, if they're not given an opportunity to be heard, then the discussion will open into something larger, and that is what you're alluding to right now. Whether having been ignored, if in fact that happens, whether they would wish to exercise their choice in what will amount to a form of primary where they would choose their preferred candidate in the general election who may happen to be an independent who would yield to their direction by joining the party that they support as they enter the House of Assembly.
Well, I like how you frame that.
We're out of time, right? But if they voted for you, let's just say they voted for you as an independent, and they said, Andre Rollins, we don't want you to go to the F&M. We want you to remain an independent. That's something you are prepared to do.
If the people of Long Island instruct me that that is what they want, I will, of course, yield to their instructions. But I doubt that they would ask me to remain an independent. Ultimately, the people of Long Island are free national movement supporters in the main. There are many who believe Long Island has been ignored, that it has received nothing but empty promises, and they believe that Long Island is long overdue for the kind of attention that it has lacked since the first F&M administration, 1992 to 1997. All right? And I can assure you that for people who know that I'm a bold politician, I'm not afraid to embark on this particular journey. Let there be no mistake. I am not afraid to embark on this journey. But if the Free National Movement ignores the voices of the people of Long Island, they do so at their own peril. However, it will not be
Ultimatum.
No, because I can tell you, Long Island people, they want to be heard. And they are passionate. Just like I'm passionate, they are passionate. If they are ignored and they tell me that they want me to give them another option, I will march to their tune and I will put myself in position to allow them to use me as a vessel to effect the kind of change that ensures that Long Island is no longer ignored and that it takes its rightful place in the political establishment of this country.
We're done. We're flat out of time. We're over time. You see how much we care? You at 7:02, man. Dr. Andre Rollins, it's been a pleasure. I have like 1,000 more questions. You might as well come be here, a little co-host. Let me grill you. But thank you so much for accepting our invitation to come back this week. We really appreciate it. I had a fantastic time on the show.
Part 3 later.
Patri.
Patri.
Yeah, lots to talk about.
I'll come anytime. Listen here. The DJ in the back,
he's a good man. I'm sure that the voice gets him plenty places because he got that voice.
Yeah,
but
can't
you
be
know,
heavy
so don't be
baritone.
offended when I say this. But I could be surrounded by these ladies any day.
Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah.
I'll come back again.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Dr.
ladies.
Rosales. We'll see you all on Monday. Ed will be back.